Alright, we are going to More Beer in Riverside. That's where we're going. I got Torley with me today.
How's it going?
And we're gonna go do that and grab some lunch, so should be a fun day. Best place ever to go get your beer brewing supplies. I gotta clean this stuff. I'm gonna get that all cleaned up and ready for brew day tomorrow. It's Sunday morning. We are now out here, well, I mean me, waiting for my brother-in-law. But I'm out here getting ready to brew some beer. Got the system back there in the back, getting up the temperature. And then I gotta mill my grain right over here.
How it flows so very free.
Brewing beer is really easy. You take your grains, you take your hot water, take hops, yeast, ferment, and you have beer. That's pretty much the simplified of it. But let me show you kind of how our system here works. So this here is our control panel. Our hot liquor tank. This holds nothing but hot water and rinse water. The mash kettle, where you extract your sugars. And then your boil kettle, where you add your hops, boil off excess water, and get to your final sugar contents. Transferring the beer now, transferring our wort from our mash tun into our boil kettle right now. And basically what we've already done is extracted the sugars from the grain by steeping the milled and cracked grain into hot water, 152 degrees precisely, for an hour is what this recipe calls for. So it's been sitting in the tub for an hour, extracting the sugars and everything out of the grain. And now it's transferring that sugar water, which is called wort, into our boil kettle. Now, once it's all in the boil kettle, we can start to boil it and add our ingredients, our additional ingredients, hops specifically. What you're also doing when you're pulling from that mash tun that holds all the sugar water is you're rinsing the grain with clean water to extract as much of that sugar water as you can and to get you to your volume before you boil off water. So the recipe calls for it to be at a certain point before you boil, and that's what we're doing right now. We're getting it up to that. So our system in the back, I kind of showed it a little bit. It's a semi-autonomous system. We built it all. It has electronic temperature controlled pumps, so the pump heads, if it senses the temperature drops during our mash, it recirculates the wort through a heat exchanger in 180 degree water and then puts it back into the mash tun. So the temperature is maintained on the mash side consistently for me. There's not a whole lot to do. You just set the temperature and then just watch it and make sure your temperatures don't get too hot. Same thing goes for the hot liquor side. The hot liquor side has a temperature probe in it and an electronic heating element that will maintain the temperature for the hot liquor tank for whatever I want it to be. And it makes life a lot easier. If you're doing this on your stovetop, you don't have that luxury. You know, it's a freaking thermometer and, you know, a stovetop. It still works. I mean, that's how a lot of people get started, but having a system like this makes a big difference. So we're just sitting here waiting, and ideally for a pull, you want it to be nice and slow because you want to extract as much sugar water as you can, as much wort as you can from your mash. So that's what we're doing right here, and then I'll take a gravity reading and see what exactly the sugar content is in the wort and what the water content is. And then that'll kind of give me a starting point to see how long I need to boil to get to my final gravity, or original gravity, and then, you know, we'll ferment that down and then we'll get a final gravity. So we're just gonna keep on trucking, see how long it takes. A lot of brewing beer is sitting around waiting. There's other things to be done, but I want to leave the sanitizing the fermenters for a little bit later in the brew day, because the closer you get to having the beer the wort go into the fermenter, the better it is for you to sanitize right before doing that, because you run less of a chance of getting bacteria, wild, yeast or anything into the kettle or into the fermenter that you don't want to have get in there, because that'll spoil your final product. So got this going. Once this is done transferring, then we start to boil and get everything up to temperature for boil, and then we have to take all of the stuff out of the mash lauter tun, which is a spent grain. And I'll probably film that too, figure out an innovative way to mount this to that and do that. So, good stuff.
How it
All done. There, that's more like it. For a pre-boil gravity, it should always be on the lower side. So after doing the reading again and making sure that it is in fact reading what it's supposed to be reading, that comes out to an 11.5 on a Brix, 1045, which is right about what it should be. It's supposed to be like 1046, so close enough. But that's pretty much, I'm right on the money where I need to be. So now I gotta go watch that and do the hop additions and all the other crap that you have to do in your boiling, and then I have to get time once I get the boil settled between adding different hops to clean out the fermenter and finish cleaning this stuff outside. So no big deal. Usually I have an assistant here. My brother-in-law, he brews with me. He also knows how to brew, so he can do this himself if he wanted. But yeah, he's not here, so we'll just make it work, you know, without him. We'll just go through the motions and get everything brewed. These are delicious, delicious hops. This is the Saz varietal from the Czech Republic. Now at this point in the brew, you can get an idea of what your final color is going to be like for your beer. And this being a traditional Saison, needs to be light in color. Which it is, so it's perfect. Alright, I just started the boil timer, so that is, bam, that's going. Everything's in the boil kettle, doing what it needs to do. Now we start waiting, basically wait and run and let it do its thing for an hour and add the hop additions. This beer is pretty straightforward. It's got a 60-minute hop addition, a 15, a 5, and a 1, so it's pretty easy to keep track of. Unlike some of the IPAs that we brewed, where there's a hop addition like every 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. This is just easier to maintain. So this is an easy beer to do, no problem. We're just gonna finish this out and then, yeah, it should be fun. So this is our clean in place system. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Got sanitizer in there, plugged into the fermenter. Fermenter has a sprayer inside, and it just has a cycle now through the pump.
How it flows so very free.
If you guys are thinking about brewing beer, you know, at home, whatever, on the countertop, go for it. The truth is, though, is it's like 60% cleaning and 25% standing around, and the rest of it is actually brewing, is making a beer. And it's you know, it's not hard, but it is time consuming, and you have to keep that in mind. So, you know, you have to have a passion for it, and if you don't, you're not going to enjoy it. So I mean, the idea of taking raw ingredients, it's just like baking, or cooking. You take raw ingredients and you make a finished product, and it's, you know, there's something about that, in my opinion. So that's why I love doing this. I can take grains that everyone else is using, and yeast that everyone else is using, and hops and water that everyone else is using, and turn it into something truly unique. And that's something I really enjoy about brewing beer. Got the dog in here with me. It's the brew dog. Hi, hey. So yeah, you want to brew beer? Go for it. It's really not that hard. If you have a homebrew shop near you, everyone in the homebrew shop, I guarantee you, will want to help you out. Not just try to sell you things, they will actually try to help you out. And who doesn't love tasting beer? Granted, when you first start, some of your batches might be, you know, ones for the sink to drink, but, you know, you gotta learn somewhere and you gotta start somewhere. So definitely go for it. That's all I really gotta say. Go for it. Follow your dreams. Came out perfect. It's 10:45. The previous gravity I said was wrong for starting gravity. It actually was a 10:44, which is what it should have been. So, you know, coming in right around there is fine for a final gravity. But yeah, here it is. Tastes like my Saison. Yep. We're good. Gonna go pitch the yeast and then wrap this up. So I will see everybody around.